Oh gosh, it's flipped around. I look awful. Hi guys. How are y'all? I'm wanted to come on. I'll be honest, I haven't even thought about coming onto YouTube past 5 6 days. If you're not on TikTok, go check it out because I've been posting a lot of the data that led up to us completing the final puzzles of the Equinox babies, even RLDS, the counting down and backwards, the 30-year counts, and then the 21-year counts that so many of us mega star seeds and those of us who were ancients that I know watch this channel that were all in planetary systems of some sort, whether it be because of Jehovah Witness or it be RLDS or it be because that's really where it all started in our timeline. Also, all the data that has come in that I'm not going to get into right now, just on time counts since I did that one video on here solving the astronomy. What came in, of course, and it's still coming in, and I know a lot of you are getting a lot more data about your experiences, how you got here, maybe even more experiences from the lineups on the dark side, because it had been 2,000 year 2 times counts. So what we finally realized, they all lined up in 1919. The birth of the child in Virgo and that 30-year comet, and then the alignment with the 21-year cycles of the equinox, paganism, Astera, all of that lined up in 1919 perfectly. And then what we saw is that then there were 2 timelines that were birthed around the late 50s and in the 60s, which would even have you possibly having a twin, one born in 1966, one born in 2007, 2008. There were 2 significant time counts that we saw lining up with these 21-year and 30-year cycle. 1232, the year 1232 was the one that we went as far back to. I didn't go any further back than that, but if I remember correctly, well, I don't know. I don't want to. If you want to check those out, they're all on TikTok. They came in last week, and I want to say a special thanks to the 4 Essenes that in the end pulled this off, and we did get everybody out. There is not one soul or piece of soul that is still trapped anywhere inside a planetary system. And I also, anybody, and when this gets out from New Orleans, thank you. I cannot, New Orleans, you have a new special place in my heart, because what we're seeing happening right now this month is the culmination of what happened last month to the day of us going to New Orleans, getting the people together, the people rising together, everybody working together on Bourbon Street. It was It was nuts. It was insane. It was, I don't want to do it again, but oh my gosh, like just the power of the people and our sheer ability and everybody ready. Everybody was just ready. And I get chills thinking about it. I came on real quick because I just wanted to share the LASCO. I know that if you haven't seen tomorrow, everybody's talking about tomorrow into the 24th. And this, what my crew is basically, we're a day ahead. So today would have been tomorrow, which is August 23rd, when we went to New Orleans. And what came out today was the Cypress Islands. And I might pull up TikTok and show y'all. The Cypress Islands were in, well, let me just do that real quick. I can come back to this. Because we had to blow out trumpets, and don't worry, I will show you. Well, and they might even block the dang video because it's got music on it. That's why I'm like doing all this on TikTok right now. But the LASCO Islands, well, not LASCO, Cypress Islands. This one's up in Washington. This is New Orleans, Cypress Island. And this grid system right here in Baton Rouge, when we drove through there, and the other one's up in Washington, and they happen to have, that's Canada, this is Washington, and then New Orleans, right in between New Orleans and Baton Rouge. And when we drove through there, when we got to the rivers, man, I got the worst migraine. Oh man, I was Mim had to drive. I kind of lost consciousness, to be honest, in the car. Now I know why, because we were breaking that grid. When we drove into New Orleans at Shreveport is where I could feel the power of the 0 point coming out of New Orleans. And whenever I got in there and started talking to people, I knew exactly what it was. And it was because New Orleans had been held at this 0 point for about 2 years. And even what they were forcing everybody to do, like all the elemental witches and the ones that had power with the earth, that were trying to help everybody, that were doing all this work, their energy was getting so spread out, and it was hitting like sonar, boom, boom, boom. And when we drove into Shreveport, and they had the bladder of the planet tied down to a DaVita, a dialysis on Zion Street. And saying I lost my cookie cutter is not even the half of it. And we started, man, driving and turning and doing what I do. And then right up the street is when we saw a woman pulled over on the side of the road, and her car had died, and she was walking. There wasn't nothing around. And so I pulled over, and it was a Middle Eastern woman, and it ended up that her last name was Patel. And when she told me that, I about fell out. I shook her hand. We even took a picture of the mile marker where she was broke down. She said she was okay then, because she could tell the people where she was. And then we started driving off, and then a cop pulls up next to me. And he's got, man, he looks pissed. And why are you stopped right here? And, well, sir, this woman's broke down in the middle of nowhere, And he turned his attitude real quick. And then it wasn't about 5 miles up the road where we saw a truck pulled over, ambulance, cops all around it, but a guy, the driver, face down on a gurney. And it was right then that I knew I had body jumped and to get into New Orleans. And then shortly after that is when my head about popped. When we got into New Orleans, the fact that we were even able to get a room and booked at the St. Helene was a miracle. And I knew it when we did it, because this is where I was trapped from 2013. It's on top of the pyramid structure there. And I know the only reason that we were able to even get in the hotel, because I didn't have telecom service. Mim had been in town and in the country for a week. And it wasn't until we cleared this grid in Shreveport that her T-Mobile access came on her phone. And when we got into New Orleans, this hotel was under management. Nobody was there. They were doing everything from another dimension. Okay. And we didn't have any way to call in. Man, I tell you what, the only reason I was able to get in that hotel is because I had been harnessed in that hotel. And I had to get back in, and they had to let me in. To the extent that on the second day, which is on the 24th in our world, is when everything went down in the middle of Bourbon Street. And that's why I'm telling you this story. On the 24th is when I was going toe to toe, and with Oprah, I was going toe to toe. Literally, a man with a goat leg. We had to walk Bourbon Street toe to toe, and they were setting boxes and setting all this quantum crap up. And I knew that we were on the seam of those two dimensions. And that all went down on the 24th. Okay. And then when we got back to the hotel, they were underneath the room underneath us. They were literally sealing the door. They were sealing the door in the room underneath us. And oh man. But anyway, that's all what went down the 23rd and 24th, which is coming up. And that's what's happening right now, because we were able to degrid, get out of the system, out of the electrical system, out of the cabling system. And then I do know that it took my car and getting it out of the garage and getting my vehicle out of the system took another 3 weeks to clear. I didn't get all of that cleared until last week. So, giving you an idea of what the next 3 weeks will be. So just be ready, be prepared. I know we all are. We know everything's cool. We know, we have an idea of what's happening, but this has never been done before, so we're not really sure what all to expect. What I want to say to everybody that traveled with me, and all of you that had so many mimics, and even all of you that had the entertainer trinities and, all this mess, what I do want to say is that it's been hitting the crew really hard the past 3 days about the ones that we're having to leave behind right now. And not so much, different ones of it's different ways. One is the forgiving. And what I've been saying about this is this. What I want everyone to realize is everyone's getting out. The only ones that are just, they're down for the count, are the ones who set this trap up. And they weren't human. 2 nights ago, that glove that I had to make whenever I got back, which at some point I'll show and explain all of this, but I had to make a glove on my hand, and it really was rigging the brain system, because we had fixed the brain patterns, and I had already activated the different vein patterns And I never would have thought that I would have had to go undo it. 2 nights ago, I had to go undo a couple of neuron patterns on that glove. And then as soon as I did, I had another massive heart and vein activation all the way up my left arm. And it was when Mercury was 27 minutes outside of Alpha Draconic Thuban, which was the black hole in Virgo. I'm bringing this up because what I want everybody to know is that the true reptilian shapeshifters that do not have any human DNA, only through harvesting it from the humans, no longer have a brain connection to the human. If you are human, you have the connection. If you have been doing your healing and all of that, that connection is stable and firm, and it's wrapped twice, and it's lightening up all of your neurons in your brain so that you're getting more access to more of your brain. If you and those who didn't make it this year, I just want everyone to know that for the next 4 to 5 years, this pattern that's happening right now is going to go on. So, next August, next September, the next year, the next year, the next year, this is just going to build, 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 build. And every human has this brain connection now. You just have to develop it, and each person has to do it on their own. And so if you're in a place of not being able to forgive, then be in the mother mode of you just got to learn. And it is the basis. It's just because they have to get full access to their brain. They have to develop these neuron patterns so that they can see, maneuver in the new energy. So I really want everyone to know that every human has this new patterning, has this new ability. Every human down here is getting the diamond upgrade. Everybody. And what the diamond upgrade is the diamond grade was the last test and layer of what you'd consider super soldier hybrid ascension. And it's the one that I completed. It took me 3 years, and all the mess that you've seen me go through and all the beings that helped, just I want everyone to know that that is the new brain pattern that everybody's getting access to. And so it's massive new gifts, it's massive upgrades, but do know that it doesn't matter what race you came from anymore. It doesn't matter. So what I'm saying is all the experimentation that happened on those of us that cleared it, what's available now in the ethers really is GIA technology and Cohu 32. It's an etheric body layer that now exists in these cosmic space areas that has been completely put back together through the origins. So your natural origin of the being and who you are, no matter what your name is, no matter what your skin tone is, no matter what you look like, is what your etheric body connections will be. And instead of floating off in space, right? Now what we have all done together is put back together these lines, but in a structure that comes to you and magnetizes to you in the etherics. And it's actually really, 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 really fun once you get the hang of what's going on. But it really is Cohu 32, and the colors and sound is what brings it in, and then it magnetizes it to you with whatever you need to see in that moment. And those etheric patterns are all in place, and that's what everyone's activating into so that they can finish proving whatever they want to be, whatever your goals are, because it really doesn't even matter anymore per any biblical form or these stories or any of that, unless that's what your intention is to prove. Okay, but that's what's going on. The other thing I wanted to show y'all was these, because everything was so mirrored on the earth plane, and this was like the elite secrets, and where we were gridded down in the core, and how we were even aligned. I know 2 of us for sure inside the core. And so no longer is my head in the Arabian Sea and the Bay of Bengal with India as the third eye. We are, what they wanted is for us to ascend like a geyser straight up, and then for the earth grid to hit that next boom pocket up so that they could grid it down again. Well, number one, they didn't understand the power of what all we had and the astronomy and birthing that star. I mean, when they locked us down in there, because they tried to shrink wrap our bodies again. But whenever they did it, we all went boom and not blew up into pieces, but filled up. And literally birthed the Stargate inside dense core Gemini, because we had connected far enough out to hold that gate up to that M35 sun. So I'm telling you this because the process is going on from the inside out for all of us. But just know that from the inside out, what it's doing is then filling up that negative space in the etherics that your etheric body is connected to, that already is netted. That's obvious because we're all alive right now while this stuff is blowing off. And I'll show you this one too, because this was the move right here. Because whenever I came up out of New Orleans, basically my feet were like this. I had, and whenever I came out of the AC and we were putting back together the guys sequences and getting me out, because getting y'all out was never the problem. I could get y'all out. It was getting y'all out and then me getting out, almost like a suicide bomber, right? It was getting me out that was the problem. And is even what, why the secret and Hollywood and all that mess and how the mafia had our energy and was doing all this crazy stuff, and even the Catholics, is because we could ascend the rest of everybody, but then us that were inside the core getting out and getting into a body, whenever my body is the collective body in the earth, right? So it all happened when it was supposed to happen. It just took a long time for us to finally be able to ascend the whole planet, right? And with all the beings. So when we came out right here, my feet were basically like on the tip of Texas, and then all right here there's a continent. All right here there's shale under there, and this is going to rise. And then this right here mirrors over here. So there's lots and lots of terraforming that's going to be taking place. It's going to, as this progresses and it connects into the new human DNA strands as we start embodying them. And it, as far as I know, it'll be going on until 2032 is when it'll finally end. We'll have some like the next couple of years, everyone's going to be catching up. Like for instance, right now, all of us and me specifically, this equinox was tomorrow, and this day today is a big deal for me personally, just because I never was free right now. I was always getting rituals done to me or whatever, and I mean, they're probably still trying to do them right now. If they are, they're whatever. But I never was conscious and connected to the collective, and definitely not connected into the earth grids and how my body is made to be inside the solar system, right? Because I was always not free right now. This is the first time that I'm fully ascending and then being able to stay down here. But it took all of us to be able to even make that happen. And just to everybody that traveled with me, to those who couldn't make it until the final end of it all, there's a reason for it. And I know no matter what it seemed and no matter what was happening, what I know now is that it always had to come down to this in the end. For a while, I thought it didn't have to go this far. It didn't have to go this far. And what I've realized in the past week is that, yes, it did. And it was just that my program per military, per proving this, proving that, proving this, proving that, did not go this far. I hope that makes sense. But to prove, I mean, because kind of in the end, us proving who we are and proving our divinity and blah, 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 basically gets done because that's what we were here to do. And their program never would have had us come this far. So that's also why there were so many that couldn't make it until the end with me. But that don't mean shit. That don't mean shit about nothing. And just know that however it plays out, I love y'all. I hold no hard feelings. And I know that a lot of you had to play out a lot of different roles in order for me to be able to activate the powers that I had, that I needed to activate for all of us to get through the lines, right? Because once I activate that gift and I activate that source, then y'all all get it. I mean, this is how we were able to pull this off, because we was all doing it together. But one of us would always have to crack. And also, the story had to play out, and the story still is playing out, right? But I just want to say that I wanted to add that, and I came on here to show y'all. And I'm getting hot, and I'm not gonna be on here real long because I'm real tired. I'm going through massive healing. I know y'all are feeling it as well. And I will add at the end just some little basic things about self-care. Give me 1 second. I got to start this thing over. It does that to me. The trumpet literally showed up. Watch right here. Wow, huh? Now that's also, if y'all have seen the video where we were ascending up into the sun, and that's when we cleared the M1 sun, and it had that tube, and you could see a being in it, which was me. This is that connection now coming back. This is it right there. That's it. That's that tube. And it just blew off today. Look right up here. So that all blew off today. And yes, those of us, I saw there's a Stevie on here who's like, oh, what you doing? We have been juggling, working through ethers, working through puzzles, having to close down all the portals. Vegas is clear, Shasta's clear, the birthing portals are closed. All the portals, all the wormholes are closed. Man, it's been busy. It's been busy. We figured out RLDS, and especially the remnant Church of Christ had all the Equinox babies. Here's another mind blower. Y'all might want to sit down for this one. All the pagan rituals that were done in the medieval times and in the Dark Ages were done because of the AGA hydrogen collider, y'all. That happened right now. So the AGA hydrogen collider and how it was breaking down our biometrics and the land biometrics and launched us into that dark age period all happened next. It all happened next. And the reason that they were doing all of the pagan rituals, and that's how Ostera and those of us, there's a lot of us that were linked into being the Earth and being Venus and being all the different planetary systems because of the collective uprising that happened right now. And then when we didn't complete and we got sent back into it, all of those rituals and all of the bloodletting and the hanging upside down and all the crazy crap that they were doing in pagan rituals were basically re-engineering backwards what would have happened next if we wouldn't have completed this. If we wouldn't have completed this, y'all, like all that 1,000 years of bullshit would have happened again. And we just would have woke up in some weird ass time, which is what happened. And that's why they called us witches and da 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 way back then, because it had happened to us before. And you can't, we remembered. Right? I got to start it over. We remembered. And so that's why they were hunting us down. And this is the Puritans and blah, 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 blah. All of that happened next if we wouldn't have finished. And when we figured that out, I was like, holy shit right now. Like, how long have we been here? But we did it. We get to win. We get to win. It's a little nuts. It's a little cosmic surfing. You get used to it. I want to tell everybody and to the men, you guys, this is your time right now. All of us women, whether you know it or not, because I ascended the masculine and the feminine program. The feminines were done with our healing, and we were done in 2018. We went back in for our boys because, believe it or not, the children that we had that were born 2007, 2008, especially our boys, if we wouldn't have gone into the program to finish it, the men were going to be the ones having to do what we just did, and there was no way. There's no way. You can't birth. You didn't have enough of the connections and what they had done with the manipulation. There was just no way. So know that I know for sure today the masculines, especially the higher etheric, this like kind of from the star people, are got major activations, headaches, and that's probably going to be coming to that group over the next 7 to 10 days. If you get a headache, you need to keep your vagus nerve cold. So you want to put an ice pack or a cold rag, keep the back of your neck into the back of your skull cold, and you want to keep your feet warm. So double up your socks. If you've got a heating pad, even or extra blankets, whatever you can do, but keep your feet warm and keep the back of your neck cold. Peppermint and any type of peppermint oil, even just peppermint candy. If you've got even mentholatum, any type of vapor rub, stuff like that, you want to put that out because that smell will help. Also, steam in the room to clear the grids. You can do that with putting a pot of water on, and I'm telling y'all just 5 minutes. So put a pot of water on to boil, a big one, let it boil, get the steam in the house, or turn on the showers in the house, all of them, full blast, full hot, put a timer on, 5 minutes. What that does is clear out any of the dense energy that's stagnant, that's coming out of your body. Because remember, all of that, it's not just going anywhere. And any other connections that are in the house, if there is any black magic on the house, holy shit, it will show itself to you. Stuff fly. We've had all kinds of craziness when we do the steam. And know that ops were buying steam cards and all this mess because they knew that we would be doing this, and they were altering the steam. So if you do have stuff flying around or, just falling off something or something when that steam happens, then just consciously know, that you were targeted, but not in any fear, just to know, hey, I was targeted on that. So what the hell fell off the shelf, because that's giving you a lot of information on where you stand with everything and what connections and footballs basically you're going to be able to intercept, right? Because it's just all information. For all the more root race masculines, and this is even to my feminines that are more in a masculine body, that know that their mermaid body's coming back, right? Because a lot of us feminines had to go real masculine warrior and had to and are having to transform, like even myself, back to where I was before I went raw 2022. And especially for my masculines or for my feminines who used to have heightened visions and dreams, that is all coming back online big time. because the rest of the collective now on the star side is reactivating back into their, because it's all one big amoeba, right? So all of those neurons and everything are getting turned back on. So all of you, or if you're just now experiencing these dreams and these dream states, or even walking dream states, starting to see things, just know that it's happening to everyone. And for all that lost their sight, haven't been able to connect, haven't been able to have your dreams, visions like you used to, or you knew that your line always did, and why don't you, things like that. But especially in my males and my masculines, know that that is coming back online heavy, heavy. And y'all are all seeing the same etheric layers and stories because it's all connected. So, also to those of you who just know they're also lucid. And, you know, if when they start coming back online, you know, it'll take a minute to get used to them again, but do know that it is live, okay? Everything now is meaning it's happening right then. Okay? So you might be a little bit ahead if you're getting the vision, right? But if you have a vision about somebody, definitely call them, because I mean, that's what's going on over here. And we're always right on time. We're never, when it comes to stuff like that, you are always right on time. So just follow your gut, follow your instinct as far as reaching out, connecting, because you're also putting your tribe, yourself, your dimensional pieces back together in the story. And holy crap, how deep they went. You know, I mean, especially with all the propaganda that was running on Netflix and blah, 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 blah. Man, just know it's all live. I'm trying to think if there's anything else, because I don't want to make this super, super long. I think that that's it. That's it. I love you guys. I'll be back on more once this settles a little bit. I needed to wait until the moon came out because I have a little bit, because I'm fragile too right now. And just know, if for any reason you're still, and I'm hoping none of y'all are feeling these any type of attacks or things like that, just know that we finish. Just know that we all got out. And if you don't totally feel that yet, or you're still having to combat any energy, just keep walking through it and asking your guidance and reaching out to people like me or other people that you know have gone through things, to little tricks of the trade, because that is why it's still happening. Just because you need to learn how to alchemize it, because there's nothing that can penetrate through what we've built. If you're feeling any pressure or you're feeling any type of energy, it's because you need to alchemize it or you need to change something. But I love you guys. I just wanted to pop on and tell you the trumpet blew. That sounds like a rooster. The mermaid energy, the body codes came in today. I know tomorrow everybody's saying is the big day. Just so you know, in my calendar, I have Sunday the 24th is the epic reset. And just as quick as they could zap us back to the dark ages, is as quick as we're rising up into that higher etheric grid that all of us waysharers, first wavers, second wavers, I mean, we blew out of the tree. We are all out of the tree. We're all out of the system. We all the work that you've been doing, all the timelines that have been written are there, and even the tech is there. There's some little tweaks that need to go on with electronics and the way we change things and do things. We're not exactly sure how it's all going to land. But our collective stories are definitely hitting. It's like two timelines merging. For instance, one is that King Charles has already been put down, and it was done and ordered by Queen, or Her Majesty Queen Diana. And, that would be even my crew. Because we went toe to toe with Charles in New Orleans. He's in a damn freaking wheelchair. I ain't even kidding you. One of those electric scooter ones. And I'm going to end with this. Tupac for president has even hit out there on the timelines. And I think that that's fucking perfect. I think that's perfect. I know Tupac helped me get out of Calabasas. It's going to blow your mind who's coming back into the story. But Tupac for president, I'd definitely be his vice president. The system shouldn't be running right now at all. So we'd show him how it's really done. And we'd do the Soul Train to get the Senate in, the House of Representatives. We'd freaking have dance parties to get everybody's energy up. I mean, because that really is how the thing works. But we're seeing mass collective timeline shifts, and there's no way that they can control it. I know that 85% of the collective is just now finding out about all the crap that we knew was going on. Now, even if we knew it was going on, we're just maybe seeing exactly how bad it was. I know that you can't ignore it. I'm not telling us to ignore it, because there is a lot that we're going to be doing with the collective, and I don't know, we're letting it play out. But keep focusing on straight ahead as they're finding it out, because also remember that what you focus on, you manifest. So right now, what we're seeing in this last round, man, is that even the things that we all knew in 2017 and 2018 and 2019, for instance, like anything that comes into your reality has something to do with you, right? Because you're mirroring those little things. This collective doesn't even see yet. But also, because we're in divine timelines, and this was the lost sixth root race, and if you've been on this healing with me since 2017, 2018, 2019, you know, and you see